are the cons of living in US? Of course, every country has its positives and negatives, and generalizations are usually not a good idea. It really depends where exactly, which state, which city, which area you're living in. Your experience might be completely different. But here is my personal experience. This is Nune in Boston area homes. I made a video about the positives of living in US. Watch that after you've watched this video. But one of the positives was the space. You have a lot of space in US, and on the other side of the coin is the negative of big distances. Everywhere you want to go, you have to either walk for a long time or it's a driving distance. So for example, if I want to go shopping for groceries, if I want to go shopping for clothes, I drive there. Because of the distances, you kind of have to drive everywhere. And that brings me to my second con, which is you don't get to do physical activity naturally. You're sitting a lot at your work, you're sitting at your desk, you're sitting at home, you're sitting driving to work and driving back. If you want to be physically active, you have to join a gym, you have to go walking, you have to really schedule those times. Number 3 con is lack of public transportation. Unless you live in very specific, very few areas in US, in a big city where everything is walking distance. Otherwise, you need to have a car because public transportation is not that great. And I live in the Boston area where it has one of the best public transportations, and still it's not enough to be able to just live your life without a car. Next is food, which is a major topic for me because I believe in healthy eating, and I see what kind of advertisement is happening on TV of junk food and how prevalent it is, and how American children are drawn to all kinds of unhealthy foods. And you know, a lot of pesticides, herbicides that are banned in Europe are okay in US, and I feel that is contributing factor in the health of the population. Which brings me to the next con is good food is very expensive. So if you want to have organic food and high quality food, it's very expensive. In the video that I made of pros of living in US, I mentioned that medical field in US is on a very high level, and especially if you're living in Boston, you have access to best doctors and best healthcare. And on the flip side of that, there's medical insurance that you have to get when you are working. And if you don't have a job, or if you don't have an employer who can give you medical insurance, or you can't afford medical insurance, a lot of times the bills can be so high that you might not be able to pay them, and they can affect your livelihood. There are many people who became homeless because of their medical bills. My next con is negativity, and negativity is on TV, it's in advertisements, it's everywhere. So you're bombarded with negativity. Depending on where you are thinking of moving to, you need to check what natural disasters are prevalent in that area. Also the bugs, the plants. For example, in the Boston area, we have ticks. We also have poison ivy, poison oak. Some areas have wildfires. The West Coast is earthquakes and wildfires. Some areas have a lot of hurricanes, so check the natural disasters and the bugs and everything before you move to a specific place. Life is very fast-paced because you're working so much, and because everything needs to be done, and there's a lot of paperwork, lots of payments you need to make for your credit cards and this and that. Colleges are very expensive in US. Even state colleges are expensive if you are a resident in the area. Many people pay their student debt up to their middle ages, and that kind of limits their ability to buy houses. My next con is about childcare. When you are having a child, you have only about 6 weeks that your employer will give you to take care of your child and go back to work. In a lot of countries, it's much longer. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear your comments. If you like this video, please press like. If you're thinking of moving to US, I would love to hear your opinion on things. And watch my next video, which is actually the positives of living in the US. There are so many positives and they outweigh the negatives.